Microphone is off. Microphone microphone is on. Here we go. Hopefully we're back. Yeah, I managed. I clicked to stream on YouTube and it crashed. So thank you. Maybe it's a sign that I shouldn't. What I was saying that. So I was describing how the system was working in idle generation, where I had this editor that will open this file, and you go there, you change, and it's all live, and you see it here. My plan was to go and basically redo this with my new engine. So as a recap, so the engine that I'm using right now, I started from the idle generation source code. I deleted a bunch of stuff. I deleted a lot of stuff, and rewrote the renderer from DirectX to Vulkan. So it's I would say probably so I was able to keep a lot of code around from idle generation. For everything that is not strictly related to the render. So my original plan was to rewrite this, but then there are a couple of things that I'm not a fan of. So the first thing is that in idle generation, these forms, these textual file forms are actually released with the game. And I have a couple problems with this. I don't really have a problem with the fact that they get released with the game. The thing that I have a problem with is the fact that the way we work, and it's something that really goes back to the Assetto Corsa time. At the beginning of Assetto Corsa, I was the only developer, so I was the only one that was actually creating executable files. And the way it would work it was that we had a Dropbox folder that we all shared, the team, and because the team was really working on separate parts, so I was the one putting the executable with the game and the editor. Simone was putting the files with the tracks, and you know, the other guys were putting the files with the cars. Aris was putting the files with the physics of the cars. There was no possibility for us to conflict with other people because we were all working on different files. So that's something that works really well for very small teams. Now, the problem with this approach, though, is the fact that you can imagine that the code at a certain point will say, okay, I want to attach to this button that is called button back. Now, what is the problem? The problem is that with Dropbox, you don't have the history that you get with something with a proper, like, you know, source control. So obviously the source code is on Git, right? So what is happening is that, you know, I cannot go in either. There is no way for me to get like a very old commit of idle generation and run it, because it most likely it will clash with the UI UI forms that don't follow the same thing. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting the forms in my source code, so they get committed to Git, so they evolve with the software. And when I compile, they basically get the source code for the form that in the tennis game it looks more like a ini file instead of the other file system that I was using. They get embedded into the executable itself. So it means that, you know, I can always go back and rebuild it. Now, this is not obviously, you know, when it comes to things like the content, we go back to the situation where it's not going to work, right? So it's really, really hard to go back. And this was the same with Assetto Corsa. It was really almost impossible to roll back an executable and try to run it, because there were always like changes in the files and so on that the old software will not understand. Anyway, what I was thinking was to try something different for this game. Instead of having this concept where we have external editors to edit the UI, and then we have the editor that edit the model. So I always have this approach to games where the game is as simple as it can possibly be. So just concentrate on doing what he had to do. And all the game development and editing stuff was done outside of the game. Obviously, there is a value in doing it in the game. So I was thinking today, okay, what if instead of having the editor, when I launch the game, so what if this is actually live, right? So what if I have to put this music down, it's too loud. Also, I'm curious to see if I'm gonna get a strike for the music. Does it even work, the volume? There are a couple things that I don't like. First of all, this loading of MP3 takes ages. Okay, so the volume like this is much better. So the idea is like, okay, what if instead this was live? Right? So what if I could go in here and change it and this was live? Right? So that makes more sense to me, probably. And then I've never done it. It creates a little bit of a problems with you enter into this situation where the game can have this mode where it has the dev tools enabled or not. So but I've never done it, so it's a good thing to try. But I'm really hot. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, my laptop. Right. Now, this would be really easy if this would be really easy if we were in the situation where the files for the form were external, but because we are embedding them, it can be a little bit more complex. But my idea is basically to say right here to have something like form enable hot reload. Right, so we're going to write this, and probably we're going to write this with, we will need to actually we need to solve this path, right? Because right here we have like a relative path, but we need to solve it what the actual path is, right? So we're going to send this, right? And I will have to find an elegant way to do this, because you see that I have this and this repeated. But we'll see. So let's try to write this one. Obviously, this has an implication, right? Because we are actually running the game, hot reloading could come with some problems. For example, in this case, I'm doing something with this form, because somewhere down here, what I'm doing, I'm looking for the songs that we have, and then I'm setting it to a spinner, because in the file, the spinner doesn't have anything. So the spinner with the songs doesn't just have these two, you know, nothing. And I'm filling up with this thing. So you can imagine that if we hot reload, we also have to rerun this code. Which, you know, so the way I'm thinking about this is that the form will probably have some kind of event that will say, hey, I was reloaded, do what you got to do, right? So let's write this one. Let's see how this could look like. So I don't even remember how this worked, but I can go and check with the old hydrofoil generation to see how I was doing the hot reload. So I still have the code in my branch here. So this was the code for the editor. So let's have a look how the hot reload was. Okay, I had this thing called a watcher, which I think it's something that it's an external crate, I think, called notify. Is it? No. Yeah, because I'm looking at the wrong thing. So cargo toml, notify. Here we go. Yeah. Dev Donut, how you doing? Right, notify. What are the guitar for? Are you in a band? Once in my life, yes. It's one of my hobbies. So I think eventually the destiny is that eventually I will have to make a game. I will have to make a game about guitars. It's a destiny, right? You know, I only did like 3 things in my life, and it is tennis, guitar, and game programming. So now I'm making a tennis game. So I seem to have seen that. Let's do it with cargo so we get the reveal in file explorer. No, reveal in integrated terminal, cargo, add notify. Okay, so we have this notify. Who's making the graphics for my game? It's my wife. So it's a team of 2. You can have an animation in this game where the character plays the racket like a guitar. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Programmer married, yeah, I know. What is this sorcery? Enable hot reload. Okay, so I think the way this is going to work, so if we look at the old code, we have this watcher. So we know that we're going to need this guy. So the idea is that the form, every form will have its own watcher. And it's an optional to have, right? So and this could be, so a watcher is an option of this. All right, so when we create the form, the watcher is none. So when we get here, I imagine we're going to say that the watcher is this guy. So we're going to do this. Right. And this is going to be, where is it? Notify. Did they change? Did they change the... Because you used to have this watcher. Probably they changed it. They changed the API for this. Hopefully not too much. So let's say, so probably it's going to be something like poll watcher, recommended watcher, recommended watcher. All right, recommended watcher. Then what do you want? Event handler. For creating a recommended watcher, for they changed the entire thing, so we have to go and check the. So event handler is an event handler, which is a trait, handle event, but I still don't understand how we watch for a particular file. For adding and removing paths to watch. Okay, so the idea is probably... So we give him the handler. Yeah, probably. But you're not... Yeah, you've been around here, no? I think I've seen you in the stream already. And it's correct, she also plays guitar, yes. We used to play together in a band when we were in the Netherlands, yeah. I've seen that he's getting a lot of views both here and on YouTube. I haven't checked how the game is doing, but I suppose he's doing really well. So really good for him. Yeah. So can I write it here? Hopefully I can write it here, the event. So I imagine something like this. And then we can probably... So we unwrap this, and then we can... paths, and then we can add, right, a path, right? And it's going to be this. And the recursive mode is non-recursive. So the only problem is, what is this path? Is it a system path? Oh, it's a system path. Oh, I hate this. How I create a system path? What is it exactly? FS path? Stud path. Okay. So stud path new from string hr path. Okay. And then self watcher is some watcher. Okay. And then just to test that this works, here we will do a println event. Events, just to see what's coming through. Should use the result. Okay. All right. Is releasing updates, sales. We lost the YouTube chat. Hold on, let me re-grab the YouTube chat. It's so annoying, this thing that pop out chat. Copy blank. I hope nobody was talking to me. Well, I hope somebody was talking to me on YouTube, but if you did, I couldn't see. Apply. Here's the chat. All right. Okay. I don't even know what the game is about. His game. All right. So that's it. So the idea is that if we run the tennis game, oh my god. Should we all now make tower defense game? Is a tower defense game? It's taking forever to build. All right, so the idea is that if I go to my form and change, let's say, this is gonna crash the game, but let's do Genshin Tennis 3, version 3, right? All right, so what we got here, that modify. Interesting that it comes 3 times. Why it comes 3 times? Let me try again. Maybe because we did Genshin Tennis 3. So if I do 4, it's gonna come 4 times. It's coming 3 times. It's very surprising. I'm not sure why this is happening. And it could be a problem. Why is coming 3 times? Okay, first of all, we have yeah, because the path is like this. Why is it coming 3 times? Maybe they are different events. In the description, they look all the same. Regarding LSP, what do you think of Jai versus Rust for making a game? Is Rust more approachable or just faster for prototyping? I think it's the opposite. Jai is more approachable and faster for prototyping. And I think Rust is probably a more robust idea for the long term and big team. So So probably for my case, maybe Jai would be in theory more, the better choice, right? But Rust at this moment is got a huge head start, right? So you get all the ecosystem, is the LSP, the crate. So if you need something, it's probably going to be there. In Jai, if you need something like a physics engine, you need to write a binding to some C++ engine, or to Rapier in Rust, right? And that becomes a pain in the ass very, very quickly. Like, for example, for the physics engine, I went back and forth in Jai. Now, for this tennis game, I'm trying to stay away from a physics engine. But back when I was doing the stuff in Jai, I had my physics. And then I went back and forth between physics and Jolt, right? And the problem is that for both of them, so ODE is the easiest because ODE has a C interface. So you could actually go and generate probably, but you still have to have the C++ source code and then build it. So you have to keep this two system, two build system, one for C++ and one for Jai. Same thing for physics, and same things for Jolt, which is a major pain in the ass because it's really C++. So for Jolt, I had basically to write my own thing. Where is it? Somewhere, JV Jolt, which is basically something that will create an interface that I can access with C. So where is the interface? So these are all the C stuff. And then, I will have a bunch of these functions in C that I will call from. So the ecosystem in Rust is way more mature. I think eventually, the big problem with Jai is Jonathan Blow. It's the reason why Jai is so good, but it's also the biggest enemy, right? Because if you don't release the thing, and you don't let people, play with it, it's going to be really hard. So I really don't know. I think that's the biggest problem. Can Jonathan Blow really get into the mind state of allowing people to use the language? Because he doesn't have that mind state, right? He doesn't have it. So I imagine he get really frustrated very quickly if people start to do things in a way that he doesn't like, or ask things that he's not interested. You see how quickly he gets annoyed on streams. So how is that going to work once the language is released? I have no idea. So that's one of the things. I think if it gets released and it gets traction, is a fantastic technology that can have. It has the serious potential, because Rust, you don't see it happening, right? It's still got problem. You still have problem with Jai, right? You still have the memory management is still not something that I cannot really envision junior green programmers work with Jai at the gameplay level and not messing up with memory. Right? I cannot see that happening. So you will have to write an engine and then and then have some kind of scripting language, which again is an idea that Jonathan Blow doesn't really. So it's really like a weird user case where You know, you have like the game designer, it's also a very brilliant programmer. So you see that that's not the case. That's not the usual situation. So I don't know. I really don't know. In my case, it was just a matter of I felt that I wanted better tools, right? And it's not really that much about the idea of saying, okay, I'm gonna put like years into this, and then Jonathan Blow decide, fuck it, I don't want to do it anymore, and then now I'm stuck. I don't think what I'm doing has that kind of value that is gonna be a disaster. I don't think so. It's just that I enjoy working with something that has better tooling, and I can change my mind and go like, oh, rename this, and it will rename it all over the project, understanding what it is and so on, right? And all those things in Jai, at the moment, they are not available simply because there is no workforce behind it, right? Jogging. The jazz series which was fun to watch. Highly recommend it. Yeah, absolutely. It's a shame. I think it's a language that if it was released, it will get a lot of people interested, because it's definitely got a huge potential when it comes to games. You know, all the compile time stuff. You know, the reflection system. These are all things that, if you're making a game and you're making an editor, are things that make your life really easy. In my case, you've seen me writing serialization code by hand. I'm one of those guys that is like, I really don't mind writing it by hand. There are people that hate writing serialization code. For me, it's like, yeah, okay. Realistically, how long is going to take me? 10 minutes, right? And I cannot remember a single event where that was a problem, right? In the Assetto Corsa time, it was really never a problem because it's one of those systems that you hammer down every single time. You and whoever is testing the game, that it's very unlikely that it's going to create a problem. So yes, you know, you add variable to your structure, and then you have to write the serialization by hand. That's, you know, you're going to waste 10 minutes, 15 minutes, right? The alternative is to write this magic code that does it automatically. Now, in Jai, the code is pretty much fire and forget, right? You don't really see it because the reflection system is so good that it doesn't really matter. In something like Rust, I don't even think about doing it because I will have to learn another language, you know, to do the procedural macro, or I will have to bring in monsters like Serde to do serialization to JSON and stuff, and it adds compile time and stuff. I really don't see the value. I really don't see the value in this kind of stuff, right? In Assetto Corsa, the new Assetto Corsa, they decided to go with proto buffers, which I hate, like with a passion. Like, it's like, you know, okay, now you don't have to write the serialization code, but your entire code base looks like shit, and you cannot debug it, right? You cannot see what's inside the structure. Is a nightmare, right? I absolutely hate it. For what? To save 10 minutes, 15 minutes of writing a little bit of code that is... From that point of view, you know, I'm probably closer to the philosophy of Odin or something like that, where, you know, I don't feel like I need this stuff. But on the other hand, I'm not making a tower defense game. I'm not making an RPG, right? I'm not making a game where I'm creating a map where I have like where I have to build a map and I have like entities that could do 1 million things, and it's like a combination of different components and stuff. You know, my games, for one reason or another, always end up being something very concrete. Like, you know, this is a tennis game, so I'm gonna have a tennis player, I'm gonna have a ball, and I'm gonna have a court, and I'm gonna have a score, right? And these are very concrete things, and I know that they exist the moment I write the first line of code, right? I'm not gonna have like my player is not is not an entity that can, with a movable and you know, the ability to make a tennis shot. It's a tennis player, right? I don't need that level of abstraction for this kind of games that I'm doing. So obviously I tend to, you know, to consider it not a big problem, not a big problem to solve. Same thing with all the games I did before. Like, you know, a racing game, it's a racing game. You have a car, right? You don't have an entity with a wheel component, right? It's not that, you know, I think that's the one of the biggest difference when you sit down and you write a game, right? You know, and you know what you're doing, right? When you're writing an engine, you need to do things like the ECS or the game object system, because the people that are writing the engine, they have no idea what game people are going to do, so they have to offer the ability to do it, right? But if you are writing the game, you know, and if the game doesn't need that kind of combinations, you don't have to go in that direction, right? So a lot of people like jump into the ECS like on day one. It's like, okay, do you need an ECS? Like, do you need to go the Bevy way where everything is an ECS? Like, it feels like complicating things. I remember there is a Jonathan Blow video where he's talking about the big agenda languages, and I think that's a mistake, right? So Rust obviously is a big agenda language where it starts from this, you know, big concept, and it's kind of trickles down to the community, right? So you see that there is this, because the language has the ability to create complex stuff, the tendency sometimes is to overcomplicate things. Yeah, there is a tendency in software development to abstract so much that it's not fun anymore. I agree. That's the thing. I mean, there are situations where you need abstractions, but there are a lot of situations where the abstractions are just getting in the way. You know, just write the thing. Write the thing. It's a tennis game. It's got 2 players, and it's like, oh, what if in the future is going to be a double? Well, you know, if it's going to be in a double, your array of 2 players is going to be now 4 players. Big deal, right? It's not a big deal. Right? It's not really a big deal. And most likely you will know that already at the beginning of the game. But as I said, I've never done an RPG. I've never done a tower defense game. I've never done an arcade side scroller. And I understand that in those games you need a level of flexibility that you don't need in the kind of games that I tend to do. There are only 2 kinds of language: the one that people complain about, and the one that, yeah, that's also true. That's also true. Anyway, in all this, we still have this problem, and this is a big problem, that we're getting three notifications. And this is a big problem, because it means that it's gonna trigger 3 reloads of the form, which is not really something. It doesn't make any sense. Let me check 1 second. So what we're using, Notify. So Rust Notify, great. Let's see if I'm doing something stupid. blah, 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 blah. So we're creating a recommended watcher. Interesting, because you know you can also do it with a channel, and then you do okay, maybe should I try to do this instead of doing that? Let's see if it changes something. So instead of doing that, the path add, I doubt it's gonna make a difference. I doubt. So watcher, watch, path, and non-recursive. And let's see if it changes anything. No, I'm still getting 3. This is so fucking annoying. This is so annoying. And they are all exactly the same. Is it possible that can't modify any? Is it possible that watcher configure config? Okay, so I can change a so I can change how often it looks at it. So it's going to be a notify config. Okay, so the poll interval. So here in the form editor, we were doing this already. Compare contents, no. Follow symbolic, no. This is private. How I create this thing? So with poll interval, I'm interested that I can actually notify as an extension create to debounce event. I never used it. Okay. Oh, that sounds very promising. I wonder if I also want to do this manual polling. How I do the manual polling? Watcher. I don't see anything to do manual polling, but let's have a look at this extension. So where were the extensions? Known problems. is mentioned in the installation section. It's an extra crate. If you want to debounce event, this is like, you know, this is a perfect example of overcomplicating something that should be the bouncer for notify filter is coming event and emits only one per time frame per file. How hard this could be? I mean, I could do it probably myself, right? It shouldn't be that hard. And it will probably even be easier if I had a manual poll. How does it work if I want to actually call the poll myself? Because if I do, so if I do this config with poll interval, so we're polling every second. Okay. Is it still coming? No, it's still coming with 3. All right, okay, but it shouldn't be that difficult. Right, it shouldn't be that difficult. Because let's do this. So struct form watcher, right? And we stick this in it, right? And we put last event time, and it's gonna be a stud time instant. Okay. Okay, so our watcher becomes an option of form watcher. Okay, so that's none. And then when we come here, form watcher, right? Last event time is to time instant now, and watcher is gonna be watcher. Okay. Okay, and the idea here is that now we can do, right? We take the time. No, we can do if we can take the time. Let now is stud time instant now, right? And then we can do if self watcher. We can unwrap it because we know it's there, otherwise we wouldn't receive this. Last event time. Okay. So we can do now elapsed as seconds. So if it's more than 1 second, then we get it, right? Expect, what do you want? This what do you want? Elapsed. What do you want? This method takes 0 arguments. Which method? Yes. No. Duration since. Okay. Okay, what do you want now? Expect a closure that implemented, but this closure only implement FN once. Kill me now. What do you want? What the hell you want? This is the perfect example of what I was talking about, where when people take something that should be incredibly easy so it's complaining. It wants to do this in a... So it's complaining that it cannot send this stuff through thread, which is not really what I want to do. For fuck's sake. I mean, the old one was so easy. The old one was so easy. So how did I do the old one? It was a channel. Should I do a channel? I have to do a channel. So I cannot do a lambda. I have to do a channel. I was doing a channel also in this. So yeah. I have to do all this dance. All right. So live with it. It was like this also with the old one. So we're going to need this channel here. Which is also much better for me, I think. And interesting because in the old one, I had this debounce event. Did I go through this also with my old editor? Notify, no, this used to be, this debounce event used to be part of the thing, and they took it out. Right. So, so now what is this? Notify event. Right. So the idea is that we create this thing. And then we just pass in the TX. Mismatch type, blah, 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 blah. Che dito in culo. So that's the channel. So it's a channel of result event. And it's something there, right? Right. So it's a channel of notify result event. Right. It's a channel, and you're able to figure it out by yourself. I need to tell you what channel is this. Yeah, okay. Okay, so this builds. So now when we do update, which we don't have an update, we just have this. So we have to do the poll, which is all right. I think this is fine. This is exactly what I was doing. Right? Okay. So now if self watcher, so if some watcher equal watcher, so if we have a watcher, watcher tx try receive, all right, and event cannot move out. Yeah, as is it enough, or you want a mutable? All right. Okay, I'm still afraid that I cannot do this, but so let's say we should be back in a situation where we get the 3 events. I thought this was going to be easy. Jesus Christ. So we're still getting the 3 events. But you know, we can do it here, right? So what we could do is something like boot let mutable reload, you know, hot reload requested, right? We do hot reload requested true. So we're hoping that we're getting this in the same update. Let's prove it. If hot reload requested, we print hot reloading. Right. So I'm hoping that I'm getting those. I don't know if it is a bet. Let's try a couple of times. And I also see that there is another problem here. Because one nice property that the editor had was that my old editor was that it was topmost. I don't think it's a big problem. I can make this topmost. So basically, if I go here, boom, I lose the editor. Right, while what was happening with my old editor, it will stay there. But it's not a problem. I can make it. I can make it if I am in debug mode with. All right. So okay, this is not really debouncing at all. So it's coming in as three messages. Oh my god! How can you think this is okay? How they knew this was a problem. In fact, they had this debounce thing in their thing. That's incredible, right? All right. So if offloaded request, so where I'm gonna do this. So I have to do it here, right? So if what was it? Watcher last event time duration. No. So I have to take the time. Now is to time instant now. If duration since watcher last event time as seconds is more than 1, then we offload requested, right? And we update the time. Now the question is, can we do this? Here I should be able to do as mute, right? And I can do watcher last event time is now. Okay, that's definitely possible. And that should, you know, probably 1 second is, I mean, how often I'm gonna save this thing? Like 3 seconds. That should be enough. Anyone recommend any GUI library for Rust? Tauri is using 700 megabytes of RAM. That's not good. I mean, GUI for... Okay, so here it's working, right? So we're getting 3 events, but we're only doing 1 hot reload. Okay, so we win. We win at life, right? So only 1 hot reload. Good. But yeah, it depends if you're doing web or if you're doing desktop. If you're doing desktop, there is the iced, which is the UI library that they use to do the system 75, what is called the Pop OS window manager, no? If you're talking about web, then I have no idea. So I still think that we are gonna have to do this. I don't think I can do self form. I don't think I can do this. I'm pretty sure I cannot do this. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be completely different, I think. That code. So here we're going to have some kind of hot reload. Right. So I don't think the borrow checker will like me to call this function. Let's give it a try. I don't think it will allow me. It does. It does. All right. All right. I was wrong. I was so we don't have to do all this, which is good. Right. So the only okay. I'm scared that the borrow checker will, okay, that's cute, right? Can we get the file name? So at the end of the day, what event are we really getting here? ICE is a good suggestion, but I still found all UI framework or Rust to be horrible. Yeah, I only seen it like an example. I never really used it, so I don't know. So the event we're looking for is this kind modify, because I would like this path. But probably I don't need to do all this nonsense, right? Because what I can do is just bake it in the... So in my form watcher, right, I can have the file name. Right? So when I get it, you know, the file name is the file name. Right. Right. Okay. So I can pass it here, but the big problem is really because what I would really would like to do is this, right? Because what I could do, it would be nice if a form could load itself. But to do that, it means that I need to separate this function, which is not a huge problem. It means basically this function becomes then init widgets from any, right? And this becomes a method where we pass in all this stuff. So we grab all this and we put it here. And now all the form becomes self. I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do that. I think this is going to be a problem. Hold on for a second. So the idea is here we do form, and then we do form init widget from ini, and we pass ini, RDR, font store, and Texas store. All right. It's happy about that. We are happy too. So that means that now we can easily do the hot reload. What it's going to do is going to do widget. It's going to clear the widgets, and it's going to do self init widgets from ini. And the problem is that we don't have all that shit. Oh, fuck. We don't have all that stuff. We don't have it. We have the ini, but we don't have all. We don't have all the rest. So basically, we cannot do it automatically. We need like a method, like, you know, check, you know, update, hot reload, something like that. And we pass in the renderer, and we pass in the texture store, and we pass in the font store, and we return bool if we actually did it. It's not great. It's not great. It's not great. Is not great. There you go. I knew that this was going to be a problem. Is it because we're passing in this? No, I think even if we don't pass this, it's gonna be a problem. I knew that it was going to be a problem. So here now we have to go all the way. We have to pass that, and then we have to pass the renderer, we have to pass the texture store, and we have to pass the font store, right? This goes. Then we need to open the ini file. Let ini is ini file. Open. File name. Unwrap. Ini RDR, texture store, font store, and texture store. And here is self watcher unwrap file name RDR Texture store, font store. Ah! Ah, hold on. It's clone, no? It's already a string. Come on, we can do this. All right. But this is still is not good. I mean, it's not good. And the reason why it's not good, because what I was really hoping that this would be enough. I was really hoping that, okay, I do this and then that's it. That's the only place where, and everything else happens. But now, you know, what is happening is that we have to do it here, right? So here we have to do self form update hot reload. And we have to pass the render. Why is the render mutable? And then texture store. Right. So it's side. Jesus Christ. Right. Yeah, and it's a good thing because, you know, I couldn't pass this, but why is the render need to be mutable? That I don't get it. Hot reload from ini, mutable render. Why the renderer needs to be mutable? What are we doing with the renderer? So texture from file, renderer mutable. Why? Here the render is not mutable. So here this is lying. We don't need to be mutable. What else? Get font. I'm sure it doesn't need a mutable renderer. Font new. You don't need a mutable render, don't you? You're lying. Piece of shit. Because he fuck. Because we need this. All right. Okay, we do. All right. Needs to be mutable, and we have to live with that. Right. Okay. I don't see a solution. This is but this is really terrible. This is really terrible. It's really terrible. Rust seems slightly annoying to me. Yeah, these are the things that it is annoying. It is annoying, but you know, these are the things that are saving you, potentially are saving you from headaches, right, in the future. So it's a little bit annoying, you know, but it's saving your ass from doing stupid things. I would say probably, you know, 90% of the time is unnecessary. I mean, you see what I mean? Like, if you really don't want, if I really don't want to do this, okay. So let's say that I don't want to do this. Okay. So let's see how we can go around this, right? So let's check 1 second. This should work. This now should work. So we should be able now to change, and it will change live, right? So we got Genshin Tennis 4, right? I go here, I put Genshin Tennis 2, save, bang, Genshin Tennis 2. So it is working, okay? Now, it's incredibly annoying, right? We can cheat, right? We can cheat. So we can do form watcher. Let's see this, all right? So, okay, so we know that in order to do that thing, what we're going to need is going to be a renderer, right? And instead of a reference, we go unsafe, and we go, this is a pointer to a mutable JVR. We are in JVR. Create JVR renderer. I mean, we're just hot reloading a text file here. We're not hot reloading code, so we are doing something that should be much easier. Right. Let's see if we can cheat this way. Basically, what I want to get here is forcing me to do two. This is one nice property about this is that I can do this now. I can do if hot reload, you know, and do my logic, right? But it's like it's all over the place, right? I would prefer to get it done here, right? I would prefer that the moment I call enable hot reload, you hot reload and you send me an event if it is hot reloading. That's it, right? Okay, so the idea is that we need to pass those stuff, right? So we need to pass the renderer, the texture store, the font store. We need to pass them. So what if here, so let's try to do that with the renderer, right? So let's try to cheat with the renderer. Cheat is not cheat, but you know, yeah, whatever. So let's say that we're passing the render as a mutable create render. Okay, and here RDR, right, is our render. But we store it as a pointer, right? So here we go, immutable, immute game render. So far so good, right? So now when I do the check, so when I do the update or reload, right? Instead of using this renderer, we're going to use this code is kind of stupid because we know so it is a self, right? So let's do this, right? So our hot reload file name will figure it out, and the renderer we have it. So what we do here is we go like, all right, so the watcher is self watcher as a reference, unwrap. Okay. Then the file name is watcher file name, right? And this RDR is watcher RDR. So let RDR as a reference is unsafe watcher RDR as mutable crate. Non-primitive. How you do pointer to reference? I forgot. I think there is something to do. Rust convert pointer to reference. Okay, there is this thing. I forgot. It's been a long time that I didn't do unsafe. So it should be simply this, I think. There you go. So now this works even if right. So we're cheating big time. Right. So it's not that you cannot do this kind of stuff. Ciao, Liner. Yeah. It's not that you cannot do it. You can do it. So we can go all the way. Right. So let's go all the way. Right. So when I do the enable hot reload, let's pass in all the stuff that we need. So the texture store and the font store, and it's fine. I'm happy to call that one time. Right. And I think here we can just do unsafe. Right, so we don't have to go. Right, okay. All right. So the point is that here, right, we do texture store is a pointer to a mutable create texture store. Yeah. And a font store is a pointer to a mutable font store. Where is the font store living? Font store. Lives here, I think. The font store. Okay. Right. So the idea is that hot reloads will not take any argument at all. It's just a call. Okay. Init watcher from this. This is init watcher font store. Init watcher texture store. Watch. All right. And then finally, we need to pass this stuff in here. So texture store, font store. Done. What do we want? So enable auto reload, we need to pass all this stuff. So we need to pass the texture store and the font store. Right? And now we're back in the same situation. So you might think like, okay, why we're doing all this, right? And I'll show you why we're going to do all this now. So this does exactly the same thing, right? So this will work. Boom, 3, 3. So that will work. But now we can get rid of the update hot reload. So we can get rid of this. Right? We can get rid of this and we can actually make it happen here. Right? So this becomes private. We don't need this shit anymore. Right? And here we can do self update hot reload. Bang, done. Okay, so now it's like, okay, all I have to do to enable hot reload is call enable hot reload, and everything else will happen by itself. So, considering that this is something that will only be enabled in debug mode, I think I can live with this, right? There you go. We crash. Interesting. We cannot see that. You think you know, but you don't know. Oh man. Ah man. This is exhausting. What is happening? What is happening is that what is happening here is that we begin a EM GUI frame, and when you start an EM GUI frame, you cannot create new fonts. And if we auto reload, is trying to update the fonts, right? This has got nothing to do with Rust. This is just the way EM GUI works. So, so I think we're fucked. I think we're fucked. We're fucked. There is no way. Basically, I need to, and there is no way around it. I need to call this. So we did all this unsafe for, well, it's not for nothing. It's a little bit more convenient to call it like this, but you know, at this point is like, it's between being able to just call this here update or auto reload and we don't pass anything, but then we're passing in all this stuff here when we enable auto reload. Or we're so the unsafe is got absolutely no sense to exist, right? So it makes much more sense to actually do it in the check, right? Update auto reload. So it makes way more sense to have it here and get rid of the unsafe part. This has nothing to do with Rust. This is just something that has to do with IMGUI. It is what it is. That there isn't much that we can do. Form watcher is just so we don't need all this shit in unsafe. Then we're gonna need this shit here, and when we do the hot reload, we're gonna have all this stuff here. Right. Unnecessary and safe. But it was cool to see how we could go around the problem. And so when we do the auto reload, we have to pass all this stuff. RDR, texture store, font store. So that's good here. One more thing to fix. Yeah, we don't have all this stuff in the form watcher anymore. So we're good here, and in the launcher, we don't have this stuff anymore. Right? Instead, we'll pass it in when we check the auto reload. So app mute game RDR, emute self texture store, mute self font store. It is what it is, right? And as I was saying, we have the nice thing that here we can handle the hot reload. Right? And what we have to do is the weird things. I'm not going to do it today. To do disable this in release mode. Right? And same thing with enable. With the enable hot reload. Enable hot reload. Right. It's going to be some kind of, I don't remember how it is. How was it? Where I'm using this, I'm using it in the init crash handler or something like that. Init install crash guard. Here it is. So basically this is if we are in release mode, I think. No, this is if we are in release mode. Right, so here what we do is that return. I think this is right what it means. Right, so let's have a look. So let's run it. Maybe create new fonts outside the MGU free. Yeah, that's what we have to do. The problem is that obviously we have to do that. It means we have to call it before the render, right? So now just confirm that it works. Bang, so this works. So in theory, if I run the release version, run tennis release, it's gonna take a while. It's gonna have to build that that crate. So in theory, the release version should not have auto reload. Although we're probably gonna crash in update auto reload. Okay, we're checking here, so we're good. So here we should always go over it. So let's see if it works. So that should be enough, you know, in the enable. So this should be enough to get us to exit. Hopefully. Because the alternative is that I have to write a completely different function. Honestly, I was hoping it was going to be easier. It's still a great improvement over building an editor. I still don't know the implications of I have a couple of problems with that. So one problem is that I have that situation where the window is not topmost. Now I could make it topmost. I could make it that it stays above everything, but the problem is that if I maximize the window, then it's gonna be impossible to go behind it. I usually I only maximize if I'm really playing, but I'm scared that, for example, if I'm debugging and I'm debugging with the window maximized, I'm fucked. I cannot go to Visual Studio anymore. So I wonder if I need some kind of hotkey to enable it. So in theory, now we are in release mode, and in theory, we shouldn't. There you go. So we change it, but nothing happened. Right, so that's good. Right, so the hot reload is automatically off for release mode, which is okay. So the next thing is really the situation about the topmost, right? And how we can do that, how we can handle that. Hey, Simon Tech, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Lunchtime here in Germany. Well, maybe I will be here for a little, at least another hour. I'm gonna do something else. I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about how I'm gonna handle the topmost. Pretty bene. Because making, well, first of all, let me think about this, right? First of all, can I do it from here? Or I need to do it when the game starts? I can see the window. Can I make the window topmost? First of all, I can, how I did it here. I don't think it was here. How I did it in the, where are we? Editor, search, main. Set floating? This is how you do it? Set floating? Really? No. Set content protected. Set cursor, set decoration, set button, first screen, allowed. Set window level. I think this is it. Set window level. Window level, always, all right, okay, all right. So, how can we do this? What we could do is automatically in the game I don't want to set this all the time. Sono contento di questo nuovo progetto. Grazie mille, Simone. Thank you very much. Let's hope. For sure, I'm having a lot of fun. So the way this works is that what we could do is again doing the same thing that we did here. So let's start with the easy one, right? So let's start with this situation here. So let's say that if we are in debug, right? Then window set window level. Window level always on top, right? So if we are in debug mode, to start with. Boom. So now it's always on top, right? So what is the advantage? The advantage is that I can go to the form and change. So I can move this here, right? And I can do this, save, and see the results straight away. Right? Oh, why is not hot reloading? What happened? Why didn't it reload? Maybe because I did it too fast? Right. What I put, like 5 seconds? Okay. I have to reduce that debouncing. So update hot reload. 3 seconds is a little bit too much. Put one should be enough. Okay. But then, what we would like to do in the game is that on idle, window event, I think we might get, okay, we get an event resize. Do we also have an event? But here we know, right? Here we know if self game win okay, so swap chain dirty. Hold on. We can use that, right? So what is that swap chain dirty? How are we using this one? So if, okay. I think this is where we do the thing. right? Here we can do the if game window is maximized. The only question is that by the time we get here, do we already know that it's maximized? Right? But if it is maximized, then we take off the window set window level normal, right? Otherwise we can reconfirm that we want the always on top. So let's see if this works, and then we will put it, then we only do it in debug mode. All right, so topmost. Now we go like this, and we should be able to switch. Yeah, okay. Then we take the maximize off, and we're back in topmost. So this is working very well. Right. Very well. So this works really well. Let's enable it only for the... I always forget how to do it. Debug assertions. Right. Let's only do it in that case. So let's do only this stuff in debug mode. It's weird that there is no other way to do this. Okay, so this is good. I think I can call it done. There is one thing though, right? So if what we're... This is one thing that this system will force me. So here I have a list of the songs that we can play, right? So I can change the song. Takes a long time. I need to do it in another thread or something like that. The point is that if I auto reload, this should lose the... So if I do this, yeah, there you go. It loses this one, right? It goes to training and shit, right? And the reason for this is that we're doing these things, right? Where we're getting the songs and then we're filling up the spinners. So, yeah, so there is no way around the fact that basically we need some kind of function that goes like on hot reload, right? That has to redo this thing. So this is the this is the other annoyance that we have. And then, you know, when we call the update hot reload, if we hot reload, we have to call, you know, on hot reload. And I don't see a way around this. We could try to be smart asses and have a lambda here to say what to call when we auto reload, but this is going to be a thing, right? I really don't see a way around it. Trying to think, but I don't see a way around it. This will work, right? The only thing that also will not work is we're going to lose the current song, right? So if I go to the second song and I hot reload, yeah, it's going to go back, but the song is not going to go back. So this is the counterbalance to the idea of having the hot reload stuff in the game, right? The game has to do more work. It's not that hard. Spinner selected index is going to be self. We actually don't have it. I mean, in this case in particular, you know, we really don't care about the song because it's just a thing for me to debug. So it's not really a big deal. All the important stuff is going to be into this UI mem. So this is a system that I already use for default generation. So basically all the real information about the UI state of the entire game is going to live in that structure. And the idea is that that structure, as you change forms, the form will just send it around. And when you close the game, it will serialize. When you load the game, it will serialize back. And everything, all the state of the UI is going to depend only on that structure. Right. So if the current song was really something important, it will be in there. But for example, the match state, right, is it. This is not super important because you can imagine the scenario where if I'm doing this kind of stuff, I'm mostly moving things around. So I will discover it time by time. It could happen that it fucks up my game. That's what is going to happen, basically. So if I go to match, right, and I change, it will go back to training, right? In this case, it's not a big problem. In this case in particular, because when I press start, it will actually bake the decision. So it's not issue. So I will have to treat it time by time, knowing that I have this functionality. But the advantage here is that I can say, okay, you know what? I don't like these buttons here. We were talking about this yesterday. Like, okay, the button should not be on the top of the girl, right? So now I can go here and go like, and something else that we still don't have is that if I make a mistake here, the program is going to crash. So I will have to work and make sure that this becomes strong enough that we don't crash. Like, for example, let's say that I save this will probably crash. Okay, so at least it didn't crash. So it's assuming 0, which is good. So all this kind of stuff, you know, could become a problem. So the match type, right? Instead of aligning to the center, we could align to Would I do bottom left or top left? Top right. Okay, so bottom left. Do I have bottom left? So this disappears, which is fine. I think bottom left. Bottom left, I don't have it. Let's do it very quickly. So anchor. Bottom left. All right. So bottom left is gonna be rect new, where we get X, and this is size. That should be it. And then top left, bottom left, hit anchor bottom left. Right, let's restart. Okay. So we can see in practice how this is going to work, right? So let's bring this up. All right, it works pretty well, right? So we have the buttons. So button start, bottom left. I think we can go a little bit. Let's put all this together. Right. Doesn't look like great, honestly. This a bit of a problem. But, you know, I can definitely do things now. Like, for example, I can create a small font. Let's not put it there, otherwise it becomes the default. Right? And then I can go to the spinner for the songs and change it. Now it becomes small. Too small, probably. But it's cool. I can literally work with it live. Is it changing the fonts? It's not changing the fonts. I think the reason why it's not changing the fonts is because it already has a small one. That's why it's not updating it. It's fine. So we can make this one smaller, for sure. Right, we can make it smaller and we can send it to the bottom right. Yeah. close, we restart, and it should be all there, it should all work. Yeah, okay. That's pretty good, I would have to say. That's pretty promising. That's really promising. Maybe you didn't see in the notify create docs under installation. If you want to debounce event, you don't need in order. See, yeah, no, I saw it. I saw it. It's just I just find it annoying that I have to grab another crate to do something so basic. I could do it myself, and you know, I don't have to take another dependency. It's fine. Right. Okay. So hot reload proof of concept. Right. So I don't know. It's a matter of trying to use it and see how it goes. Let's try to do something a little bit more fun. All right, close all. So is the game working? So we do something a little bit more fun. What time it is? Okay, let's see if I can do it in 1 hour. I should be able to do it in kind of 1 hour. What is the idea here? The idea is that if I start a match, we're playing on this court, right? Ignore the hair going crazy. We're playing on this court. The point is, what if we want to play on that court over there? Right? What if we want to play there? Or if we want to play there? Okay. So what do we want to have? So what I want to have the simulation part of the game, the part that is actually doing the, you know, the match, right? Always work in this kind of normalized coordinates where the court is 0, okay? But then once we go into putting it on the screen, we want to be able to offset it with the matrix, right? So what we can do once we have that, you know, we could have like multiple matches running while we'll play, right? And we can say, so that match is court 1, that match is court 2, and that match is court 3, and so on, right? But inside the actual code for the match, I don't have to care about this kind of coordinates. Right? Hopefully simple, but let's see. There is one thing that at the moment is not really. So let's go to tennis level. So right now, so let's go to the update tennis level. So what we do here, so we step the simulation. You could multiply the matrix from the, yes, correct. Correct. Yeah, should be simple. It shouldn't be that difficult. There is one thing that I don't like. So what is happening here? First of all, we're still. This is a match avatar, okay, and it's getting a match. So I have right now this player state. I'm not super happy about this. Because what I would really like the problem is that I'm still sending the ball and the score. Right, that's my problem there. While what I would really like to do is to have like a more generic simulation state or match state or something like that. So what I would really, so player state is this concept of player state, right? Because what I would really like is to have abstract match state, right? Where we have players, which is a player state 2, right? And then we have a ball, which is a ball state. See, for example, we have a ball state provider, which is not, I don't think is what I want to do. I want to have a ball state. Right? Because right now we have this ball state provider that is providing all this bunch of stuff. So let's have a look at this. Let's get rid of this. So let's go to the ball state. Right. And basically we know that we're going to need the position. We're going to need the velocity. We're going to need the events. Ball events. The history, I've been through this. The history is in the wrong place. Vabbè, let's do it like this, but you know, this is completely wrong. Projected trajectory result. Okay. Shot counter and bounce count. Right. So we get rid of this. Okay. And the idea is that our match is going to have a function called state. It's going to return a match state. Right? Shall be simple never goes well. Yes, that's so true. I was also trying certain time Rust, but I stick to the end with C++. Reason is not because I don't like Rust, it's more that I'm learning Vulkan right now. And learning a new language and a complex API will not cooperate well. Yes, you're totally right. You took the right decision. Also, I think the ecosystem is a bit better for C++, like all dependency like async and so on. Yeah, I think you made a good decision. It's not fun to try to learn an API and at the same time learning a language is not fun at all. Okay, so our it's going to be self players 0 player state and then the ball is going to be the ball state, and we have to self ball pos self ball vel self ball events. This is ugly here, but we will history clone. This is terrible. Projected trajectory. This is another clone, I think. Self ball projected direct trajectory. Is this something we can copy? Not sure. Project ball result. Clone copy. Yeah, this is something that we can actually clone. Why you're not happy to give me a clone? I don't know. Let's see. Self ball shot counter and self ball bounce count. Okay, so the only problem is this. Expected the Becca found what? Ah, right. So history is or okay, my man. As I said, I'm gonna change this. It's really stupid to do this in the simulation side, right? Doesn't make any sense at all. All right. So we get rid of all this. All right. Okay. So now in tennis, what we do is when we update a match, we get the state. So the match state, right? Match sim state. Cool. And now the players match state. All right. So I think we should know, do we have index? We should have the index. So we know which one is our player. In player data, I think we should have the index, right? We should know who we are. Right. So by the time that we get here, right, I can do let player is match state players self data index, right? And let opponent, am I even using the opponent? Yeah, I am. So let opponent is match state players invert index self data index. Right. Right. And this is match state. So it's going to be a bunch of match state dot here. Okay. Match state ball vel. Match state ball pause. Match state ball vel. very verbose, but not, it's not a tragedy. What is this? Yes, okay. And then now basically here we're sending the match state. So the only thing that is missing, I suppose, expecting. So obviously I have to do this score here. Okay. I suppose that one thing that is missing is the index of the players. So this is nothing. Where is this? Okay, ball avatar. So ball avatar will also have a match state. The reason why I want to send the match state is because we can do that matrix thing in the match state, right? We could make it part of the match state. Why is doing this? Ball history, the ball pass, projected trajectory. All right. And then when we do this, we also send the match state. All right. And then who is this? Tennis Audio. All right. Same thing. Tennis Audio will have to work on the match state. All right. So it's going to be match state, all events. This is completely unnecessary. Vabbè. Weird. Boss. Okay. And match event players. Okay. What else? So update audio. So let's do this. Let's do let's start here. So where are we? Why is doing this thing? It is just for debug stuff. So wait, this is not needed. I was just doing debug stuff. All right. What we can do is we can have match state here, self theme state, right? And here we can send directly the state. Match state. Okay. Ah, shit, fuck. Let's pass, but let's pass in the score for now. All right. So we will have to do the score. And here, the thing is that we need to pass the match state. And this was the entire point of doing this. Right. So now in here, when I call this, I already have the match state ready to go. All right. And here we need to send the score. We should be part of the match state, but I still don't know how we're going to do this. So we're going to send it like this for now. Okay. We're still missing, where are we creating the players? Here. And it's in UI mem. I'm not a fan of this. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Let's do this for now. Yoo-hoo tennis! All right, so we did all this to come back exactly where we were, but this now should allow us to do the thing that we want to do. Right? Okay, so this now should allow us to do the thing that we want to do, which is move to a different court. So the question is how we're going to do this. Probably the match avatar should be the one that has the offset, the offset matrix, right? So the court matrix. Okay, so just to try, so we're going to do something absolutely retarded, right? Court matrix, we're going to do mat, and we're going to do from axis angle. So we're going to rotate the matrix. So we're going to rotate at 45 degrees. Right? So it's going to be super weird, right? It's going to be super weird. So if once this thing works, basically we will see the players playing at 45 degrees over the court, right? Now, the real question is where we do the transformation. Because we could do two things. We could send the offset to the players. So I could send the offset down to this player here. The other thing that I could do is to we could have an offset matrix here, I don't know if it makes sense. It's very dirty. I think it's very dirty. The other options that we have is that we could have some kind of structure that we can call like match state court, right? That has a state, match state, and a court matrix. And what we could do is, for example, let's do the ball, right? So we could make the ball that instead of getting a match state, it could get a match state court with a lifetime that we don't care. So what we could do to simplify this, we could do ball is state, match state ball. So that's the state of the ball. So every time we call this match state ball, right? Every time we call this, we really want to call ball, right? So boom, boom, boom. No, that's not it. That's it. That was the update of the ball. Right. So the matched avatar could create this match state court here. Match state court, right? Where the state is the match state. And the court matrix is self court matrix. Okay. And for the wall, we pass this. Okay, but we're not done yet. Because now we have to make the ball aware of this fact. And how are we going to do that? So that means that basically every single time, well, this is not that bad. So let's forget about the history for now. So for now, we're just calling this, which is not problematic, right? So what we have to do is match state matrix, court matrix, transform point ball boss. That's it, right? It's a little bit cumbersome. That's it. And also this one. That's it. So for the balls, that's it. Right. So if this works, we should see basically the players playing in the right place, but the ball should be like angled 45 degrees. So it should go complete. There you go. So that's so that's okay. All right, that works. Okay. All right. All right, good. Let's do the players, right? So player avatar, update. Instead of a match state, we get a match state court of a lifetime that we don't care about. And now, this is easy. So we get player state players, right? Good. So, okay, so the only place that we really care, so let's see what's the situation here. This is going to be interesting because, you know, it's where we really need that information, right? Let's also do the ball here, so we don't have to repeat all this match state ball. So let's do the ball is match state state ball. All right. So every time we go again match state ball, we translate it to ball. Yeah. That's okay. Okay, so where we really going to need this? I imagine that we only going to need this when we really place the player in position, which is here. And here, so match state, court matrix, transform point. Okay. Now the problem is this, so rotate on axis. So this is not enough. Because I think what we really want to do, we want to create a matrix that has from, so we can create a matrix from forward, up, and position, okay? So forward is going to be match state court matrix forward, right? Up is going to be always y-axis, and the position is going to be that. But actually, okay, let me do this. So let's figure it. So the player position is going to be the player position, right? Transformed. So now where is this player looking at? So the player forward is going to be player position. You know, it's going to be match state court matrix position minus the player position, normalize. So the player is always facing no, because like this, if the player moves, you know, no. I think we should be good enough with this. I think this is good enough. I think this is gonna work. So the only possibility is that the players will face the the other way around, but then it's an easy fix. So here we also send down the match state court and we run it. Okay. So they're definitely playing at 45 degrees. Okay. The camera is not aware of this fact, our camera system. So they're pointing in the right direction. So that's correct. Okay. So let's fix the camera system. So we have some kind of camera system here. And the camera system probably, how does it work? Do we have an update camera or something like that? Update Tennessee Live, how does it work? Update camera system. All right. So we need to update camera system. We need to pass in the match state. How does it work? So it's gonna get a player state. I think we can be smarter than this. Because okay. So let's send in the match state. The reason is basically we want to do this, right? So we want to make sure that we're grabbing that match state players 0, right? And that's all good. So player I mean, I could literally grab the matrix of the player to do this. Which is going to be self match avatar. Players 0. That's not that easy to grab that matrix actually. But we need it. We need it. I need that. I need that. I absolutely need this, right? So I need this method, right? So we need that. Right, and this is going to, so we need to, I need the scene. Right, so if let some model is scene get scene, models get self model ID, right? Well, I mean, we need this stuff, right? The game cannot work without this, so we can just unwrap it. It's not that we can ignore this. Sometimes you really want to crash, you know, if we get here and the model is not there, you know, it's just impossible. So we just live with it. So model bones 0 matrix. That's what we want, right? That's it. Okay, so we can send in the self scene. Okay. So now we have the player matrix. Is this Rust? Is this a Rust programming channel? It's I'm working on a game and I'm using Rust. I don't know if it's making it a Rust programming channel. I suppose so. Yes. What's your graphic pipeline? Vulkan. So I'm using Vulkan. Player matrix. All right. So what are we doing here with this camera offset? What is this? Ah, this is for the serve. Right. Thank you, Geox. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you enjoy this. Right, this is for the serve. Okay, so, right, all right. So, camera position. Okay, so we have to make this one a little bit better, right? So this is camera offset normal, right? And this is going to be self match avatar court matrix transform point this. All right, and then we're gonna have camera offset. You know what? We are doing cameras, right? So let's not repeat this camera all the time. So offset serve, right? It's going to be exactly the same thing, but we move a little bit the camera. Exactly at 3.5. Okay, so now the offset is going to be offset normal, lerp with offset serve. All right. And then the target is a little bit more complex because we need to translate this target into the all right, so one thing at a time. So this is okay, this is a height, but here we need to translate it for the self match avatar court matrix transform point transform vector, right? Okay, what else? Blah 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 blah. I think that's it. I think this should put the camera in the right position. Ah, we're not using the player matrix. Hold on. Why we're not using the player matrix? Ah, because we're using this fucking idiot. Is player matrix transform point. Player matrix transform point. Okay. And also player matrix transform this one. Let's go. No. We still have an error. because we need to pass the match state. Are we even using it? I don't think we're using it. Are we? Yeah. All right. Let's go. Is this going to work? What the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? All right. That doesn't look to me like it's working. All right. All right. Obviously, we're calling this after the players, right? All right. Okay, so what's wrong? Offset norm. Hold on. Because I think we're treating this as an offset. All right, okay. So we shouldn't put it as an offset. So this is not an offset anymore. So this is camera. So camera pose normal, right? And this is camera pose serve, right? And then it makes clear this mistake. And then hold on. So the camera, this is camera position. Whoops, camera position, right? And now it makes clear the mistake. The mistake is this, right? The camera position, right? And it should be camera position. All right, let's try again. Can we get the no, it's not open source. I'm sorry. Oof. 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 What happened? What happened? Let's debug. We have a none somewhere. This is the problem that I was talking about, right? Now it's topmost and we're fucked, right? We can't debug. That's the problem with having a camera that is topmost. All right, let's see where we're having the problem here. So well, this is really, really down in. Okay, so we are creating a matrix. I think in the camera, we are creating a matrix that is a very unhappy matrix. Line 1 camera pose 171 camera pose normal. You reckon that this is wrong? Vabbè. Yeah. So what's the problem here? Look at. How do you like programming in Rust? I'm fairly new web developer thinking of learning another language for backend. What do you think of Rust? Well, I'm using it, so it's the second game that I'm doing with it. So, like every technology, it's got good things and bad things. But the fact that I'm using it, it's obviously a sign that I like it, right? I'm sure that this is our problem, right? Let's just prove there is our problem, and then we'll. Camera post was installed, but camera post not. Was that there is no null in Rust, so it's impossible. All right. Okay. So okay. So we have a couple of things. This should probably be negative. Okay. But I don't understand why we are so high. Okay, no, makes sense. Okay, we are 2 meters high. Okay, so okay, so now we just have to look down. So the problem, okay, so the offset is, so this is our Y. So our target is just going to be, I think, player matrix. Transform vector. Camera target offset. All right, let's go. May I ask what other technology are you familiar with? I've been mostly, I'm a game programmer, so I come from 20 plus years of C++. But I love languages, so a bit of everything from C#, pretty much every languages you know apart from web stuff. So I don't know JavaScript. I don't know anything about web development. I don't know database stuff at all. And what I do beside game dev, you mean game dev is my job, so that's what I do. And as a hobby, I play tennis and I play guitar. Game dev is my job. These questions are coming from YouTube, guys. In case you guys on Twitch are like confused. These remind me of the Wii U tennis game. Yeah. We're still not. I'm still not sure what's going on. So let me have a look 1 second. What was going on here? Camera offset, camera target offset. So what we were doing. Look at. The problem is that I think this is a position in the court. I think this is not going to work like this. I don't have to. I need to. All right. Because in the old code, basically, we were assuming that the camera was looking in that direction. So we. Hi. So look at, this is a target, right? So this could be, instead of a player matrix transform, this could be our self-match. What? Camera system. What? Self match avatar, court matrix transform. I think this is what we really want to put, right? I think so. Let's see. After all the time learning Vulkan, I must say I enjoy it more than OpenGL. Wow, really? You just have immense freedom, but sadly I was looking why my instance rendering code was so slow and realized that my vertex and in the buffer was still host visible only from testing. So you change it to use rebar. What is rebar? You're welcome, Odette. We're still not. We're still really not doing what we should do. Let's have a look again what we were doing. Well, it's definitely something relative to the player. But it's really strange. It's definitely something that it was relative to the player. Player matrix transform point. Rebar means that the CPU is allowed to use GPU memory directly, so you don't need to use staging buffers. You can do this by setting the memory using flags host visible device local. Right. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, this is working. Okay. So, I wonder how hard would it be? So how we can do this? How we can play on the other court, right? So now the court, no, what was it? The match avatar, right? So can I open that thing in Blender? I should be able to open it. So import GLTF and we go to, where we go? quartz decker. I don't know how to use. Yeah, all right. Oh shit! I'm really not good in Blender. I'm not good moving around. How you pan again? Pan. All right. So what I would like to know is the fucking hell. What a mess. Why I'm still seeing... All right. Come on, we can do this. How can I know what is this coordinate? How can I do this? Why we're not seeing the texture? It's so annoying. It's not even precise. Is anybody knows Blender? You can go to edit node or place an empty. Yeah, I think that's how we do it, right? In edit mode, I should be able to select like something like this. Object mode. So, okay, we select this. Maybe we know location X. There you go. That's our number, I think. That's what we need. 2142. I think that's it. That's what we needed. So this matrix here, so now we don't put it 45 degrees. We go to from position 3 and it's like 2142. What was the number? 2142, yeah. Okay. 0, 0. Right? And that should put us on that court. And then obviously I will ask my wife to put empties for the different courts, right? But this should work. There you go. We're playing on the other court. And something that we see that is a little bit annoying is how the illumination is completely fucked up with my toon shader. Obviously, the other thing that is happening is that we have lights on this court, but not on this one. But, you know, a battle for another day, exactly like, you know, with this hair as well. Okay, that's good. And I imagine that I can also easily turn it around, right? So I can easily from forward up. So I could do like minus, so forward is like minus z-axis, y-axis, and this. So we turn around, play on the other side. Yes, the sun is here. So we turn around. Let's go to the main court so we can actually prove that the sun is on the other side. Yeah, okay, we're playing on the other side. That's cool. That works. All right. Okay. That's a good way for me to end up in the weekend. I think something that could be fun to do next week is to basically get another match going on here. So while we're playing, we're going to have another match going on here. Right? Which is the entire point of this operation, right? So the idea is that, yeah, again, in this game, what we're trying to replicate in this game is not the idea that you are the, you know, the big tennis champion that, you know, plays on a center court at Wimbledon. What, you know, you're grinding your way through, you know, junior tennis, and the reality is even for tournaments, ITF tournaments, which is, you know, tournaments that are just below the ATP level, but they're giving you ATP points, is that the reality is that you play in normal tennis clubs and there are other matches going while you're playing. It's either other matches or people playing practice matches. So that's what we're going for. And it's very possible that what we're going to see here, you know, it could actually be your actual opponent. So imagine a situation where you're playing like a semi-final, right? You might have your other semi-final going on here, right, while you're playing with other players. So that could be interesting. So, and you might have balls coming up. We will probably put like separations between the courts. Oh, there is so much banding here because of the illumination system. That's not nice. It's the first time I see it. Probably because I have more sun there, so I see less the effect of the illumination. That's definitely something that looked much better in Godot. The entire illumination system. But it's good, it's working. So we did the, you know, first implementation of court matrix. There you go. So that was a very productive stream. We had the hot reload for the UI, which is a huge thing. It means one less program for me to hold, and we're gonna try to use it next week to try to reproduce the score system that I did for Godot, for the UI. So in the UI, we have this, right, for the score. So we're gonna try to use the new system. Jesus, Godot looks so much better. Look at this. The illumination looks so much better. It's so nice. The characters, you know, they are not really toon. They are not really toon shaders. So, but yeah, looks pretty. But frame rate is not even a battle. It's Godot is like 270 frames, and on the Steam Deck, it's almost a 90, right? So it's not that far from the maximum. While I don't know if I have a. Do I have a frame FPS counter? I think I do. So it's like 270, and I think I'm capped at 300 here against 700. 740 frames per second. Obviously, we don't have global illumination. We don't have glow, so it's very unfair. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm expecting. I'm expecting that once I put, you know, the stuff that is needed, the glow and stuff, this will probably drop by half, but it will still be way above. You know, that's what you get with the custom engine. There is nothing. There's no question about it. Right? It's always going to be faster. I like Godot and there is open source, but if I use a game engine, mostly use the C4 engine. I never even downloaded it. This is a 3070. 3070, so it's an old GPU with the CPU. The game is 100% single threaded. So I mean, it's not. This is not gonna be. This is not a heavy game to run. And the objective is to get it to run very solidly at 90 on the Steam Deck. So it's not a game that is going to stress anything at all. So it's very light on the CPU. It's very light on the GPU. It's never going to be something that is going to push. It's like anime rendering. So it's toon shading. Pretty much simple scenario that doesn't move. There is no dynamic loading of resources. You are not walking around, so it doesn't require to unload and load chunks of the world. So it's very simple. It's a very simple game. It's not gonna stress anything. But still, you know, I like things to be fast. I like things to load very, very, very fast. Right now, it annoys me that the MP3, because I am basically decoding the entire MP3 song into a buffer when it loads, it's pretty slow at starting up. So it's like loading MP3 and then it starts. So it gives that probably 1 second pause. It annoys me. So I will have to figure out how to move that loading into a different thread or something. I like to use things which not everyone are using. It's kind of sad that most games right now are made with a real Unity. Well, you know, at the end of the day, there is a reason. If you are... There is a huge element that there are so many factors, right? The first factor is that you always have to think that somebody's putting the money to make these things happen. And that person, whoever is putting the money, they want the guarantee that, they want as much guarantee as possible that the game is going to happen, right? So if you go there and go like, all right, I'm going to make a game with a unknown technology, everything is starting to become shaky, right? So, yeah. So if somebody look at what they do with Unity, you know, you look at Arc Knights, Genshin Impact, and all that stuff, and you say, well, they're made in Unity. Obviously, the technology can deliver what is needed to do this kind of games, right? So makes sense. You know, if it was my money, you know, in my even in my case, you know, I ended up with Rust compared to Jai because I feel more safe with it, right? Not because the language is safe, because I already used it for a game and it was a very good experience. It was very solid. I know it works, right? If you want to make it economically, yes, establish game engine are a must. I mean, it's so obvious, right? Especially when you start to see, you know, all the tools that they have available. You know, imagine all the. At the end of the day, I spent all this week, most of this week, working on this jiggle bone system that is not even done, and in something like Unity, you know, is just there. You know, it's just there. Same with Godot, is just there. The difference is that when you do it yourself, you have an understanding of the system that is much deeper. Like, you know exactly what every parameter does, no? I still don't feel safe with Rust because the libraries are not mature and get abandoned a lot. That's why I'm so this thing is, for me, I still come from a C++ background where, you know, you don't add a dependency unless you really, 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 really need it, right? It's still super scary that when I build the program, I see like hundreds of crates getting compiled, right? So even the few dependencies that I'm getting are pulling a lot of stuff in. So that's obviously scary. It's something that I'm not a fan of. You know, I'm definitely more from a C++ background where, you know, you really know your dependencies really well. And but yeah, it was not a problem with idle fault generation, so I cannot see it was a problem. The thing is that the fact that with C++ you really don't have a package manager, it means that your dependency become part of your project, right? You vendor your dependencies, so they actually become part of your projects, and you know, if you have your project, you also have your dependencies. So it's a completely different culture. Yeah, as ByteKeeper is saying, it's like, because the thing is that the moment you have the package manager, then you start to really use you really start to use it. Yeah, I mean, how many? I mean, CMake you can't kind of, but it's. I mean, you cannot compare the monstrosity of CMake if you want to try to auto download the package compared to Cargo. Like, Cargo is like it's not comparable, right? The editor is written in Rust and it's like 100,000 dependency. I wouldn't use it because you wouldn't use it because of that. That's interesting because, you know, even if you, yeah. I don't know. I don't, you know, from that point of view, I'm not that obsessed. I don't use it because although it's faster, there are things that I'm so used right now with Visual Studio Code that it's getting there. It's getting to the point. Sometimes I write some of the game with Z. You know, I have it right here, but it's not there yet. Ninja seems okay. Yeah, but Ninja is not it's not a package manager. It's a build dependency. It's a build system. I think the reason Rust has this ton of dependency culture is because a lot of people that try Rust and write libraries in Rust come from web development. Yeah, I think if you have something that is good, people are going to use it. But I agree there is a culture. It's a culture of, you know, it's how you approach problems, right? For me, reaching for a library is like a last hope. Like, for example, you know, last night when I finished the stream and I couldn't figure out the box collision and stuff, I was like, okay, let me check this crate that does the collision. So I was looking at it. I was like, okay, I can actually use it, right? But then this morning I woke up and I was like, no, I really want to figure out this box collision. And I'm happy that I did, because it means that now I don't have that dependency. You know, although I have it because I have my physics engine, I'm not using it right now, but you see what I mean? It's like, it's one less dependency. But on the other hand, it's nice to say, okay, I have my back covered. If I cannot figure it out, I can actually try to find something that does it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like when it comes to abusing stuff like that, like you're saying, you know, I need a function to see if a number is even or odd. You know, there's a crate for that. That's a ridiculous approach. I agree. Grandpa, where is the code distance that is coded for dinosaur? What is this JavaScript you talk about? All right, guys, we've been here for 3 hours and a half. It was a good stream, actually. It was a good, successful stream. I was expecting to have to work the entire weekend to do this UI editor. So the fact that I came up with the hot reload is a positive thing. It means that I can actually maybe take a day off. I was thinking to do a stream where I try to create a build of I have a couple of projects, experiments that I did with Jai, with Unity, and with Godot. It would be nice to actually get them to build, compile, and save a build for future reference of things that actually work. So that could be probably something I might try tomorrow. We'll see. I got my dependency from 300 to 80 just by disabling extra features on third-party dependency themselves. Compile is down from 1 minute to 8 seconds. That's amazing. That's a big change. Serialization library do crazy code gens that slow the compilers down. Yeah, I mean, that's why, actually, you know what? I think I still have Certi somewhere that I can get rid of if I didn't do it already. There's somebody's bringing it in. I have it here. But I'm not really using it. So I think I can get rid of it. What is the comment in Toml? Let's see if still builds like this. I think it's the only place where I personally use it. but obviously it's here. Somebody is, yeah, so it's actually building. So I did an experiment with it, but I'm not really using it. The you know, all the bad rep that Rust has when it comes to build times, personally I didn't notice it. When now I'm building in debug mode, and it's reasonably fast. This is a build. Now I changed that weird that is compiling this third JSON. I took it out, you know. So obviously this is a big rebuild because it's rebuilding this GLTF stuff. It's not my code. For things like this, like for example, loading GLTF, it's fantastic that you can grab a crate for it instead of having to write it yourself. So if I go in the game itself and do a change of a constant, I think it's a couple of seconds rebuild. There you go, it's already done. So it was 2 seconds. 2 seconds rebuild, which is, you know, absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. And I remember in Hydrofoil generation, I was building in release mode all the time because debug mode, forget it, it will never work. that game was like much heavier, really heavy on the CPU. And I remember that my rebuild times, unless I changed something really deep down, it was 8 or 9 seconds. So, you know, it's fine. I do break my stuff in crates a lot. Like, you know, so I have a crate for the game, I have a crate for OpenAL, I have a crate for a renderer, a crate for the math, a crate for the game, you know, infrastructure with the levels and so on, crate for the physics and so on, network. So I do break stuff in crates a lot. And the crate in Rust is like the compilation unit, right? So it's like CPP in C++. So it allows the compiler to get some kind of parallelism going and compile more crates in parallel if it's needed. So it's not really that bad. It's not really that bad. Anyway, I think I'm done. Thank you very much, guys, for spending some time together. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And maybe I will see you tomorrow, maybe not. We will see. Ciao, ciao, and thank you.